a dent in the title hopes of Man City, but they've got bigger problems at the minute, haven't they really, Myles? I mean, the statement from the Premier League reads quite seriously, and I don't think many are surprised that these allegations are being brought up, these charges. But breaking financial rules, over 100 counts against City, potentially, after an investigation that's been going on for more than 4 years, I think, from the Premier League. What are your feelings about that? Because there's not much detail so far, but how do you feel about it? It stretches over like a decade-long period, so there's a lot of detail there.
Yeah, obviously we've got to be careful with it while we don't know too much of the ins and outs of where these irregularities are. But it is very alarming to hear the level of this problem and how many times this has come up. And obviously, it's not the first time there have been these allegations against Man City, and they've kind of rode their way through them each time. But it doesn't look good. We've obviously seen what's just happened to Juventus over in Italy, and whether that will set a precedent that the Premier League feel like they have to follow now is very telling that this is another Super League club as well. It's a really interesting thing to see develop. And actually, we talked last week about whether there was a bit of unrest at City within the playing squad and within the coach. And if you've got things like this going on in the background, City's statement kind of made it seem like they were surprised at these allegations coming out. But they can't genuinely be, surely. It must be something they're aware of. And if they're not, I don't know, though. They need to at least be aware that people are looking into them, surely, because that seems like poor management on its own. But we'll see what implications it has. I mean, if it's anything like Juventus and they take 15 points off them, they'll still be above Liverpool and Chelsea, which is quite funny. But it would at least shake things up a little bit. And yeah, who knows what? It's really unprecedented, isn't it, in England? We don't really know what to expect from this.
No. Well, we've got to really not say too much because there's not much detail to kind of look at. But yeah, uncharted waters. And I think the Premier League are still kind of keeping their cards close to their chest about exactly what the nature of these charges is. I think there's mentions in there of payment to managers. And I think it was Mancini that's been mentioned within that period. So yeah, a lot more detail still to come to light. But yeah, it's over a decade-long period, and there's been talk of titles being stripped away, things like that. I don't think the Premier League have got the balls to do that. First of all, I think it seems like if these charges do come to fruition, there's probably something like a points deduction, which on a season where City are not likely to win the title, it seems like doesn't seem like much of a punishment either. But what do you feel, Dave? How do you feel about it?
I like the ring of 23 times Man United. That's what I like.
I want Villa's Carabao Cup win from 2020 as well, please.
Oh yeah, we've heard murmurs, haven't we, over the years of certain things that have come out. Obviously, nothing official, but it's quite disturbing, really, to kind of hear that it's been going on for this long. If it is the case, but apparently it's also something that's been worked on for the last 4 or 5 years by the Premier League. So that just kind of goes to show that if they do legitimately have some, evidence there, it's not something that they've taken lightly. They've obviously looked into it very seriously. So we'll see what happens with it, but it's quite concerning, really, if you're a Man City fan.
Yeah, well, it might set a precedent, like Myles said. Anything you want to add to that, Myles? Because you seem to have quite an opinion on it, man.
No, it's just there's one thing that is out there that we can comment on. Guardiola's comments himself in May last year when he said, if the club have assured me they've not breached these things, and if they've lied to me, then I'll walk away the next day and they won't be friends of mine anymore, I think were his words. So it puts him in an interesting predicament too, to be honest. If these things go through, is it somewhere that he stays? Does he have to back down from there?
Well, you say that. Apparently bookmakers have taken a flurry of bets in the last 3 hours since the news got broken on him being the next person to walk. He's now odds-on favourite to leave his position.
Wow.
So yeah, you don't never know what's going through his mind. I think the last few interviews we've seen from Pep Guardiola, he's a bit of a weirdo anyway, but City feel like a weird club at the moment, don't they? This just adds to that kind of uncertainty, and they're in a title race. So this doesn't look well for their momentum, definitely not. It's more disruption for them to kind of have to contend with.